Testing, testing. Hello. Somebody say hello to me, please. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Good morning, John and Ducko. Good morning, Bill. Wayne. All right, it's time. Hey, Yerny. I have a brutal cold this morning. I'll fight through it. Hey, Peter or Pete. It's good selling. There's nothing bearish about the selling here. I'm waiting to see Apple put in a hammer or a bottoming stick. We're seeing some of the RSIs get down in the low 20s. Hi, Irish. Your cliff looks fine, by the way, to answer your question. Your cliff looks fine. So if we're getting RSIs in the low 20s on some of these leading stocks, so it's worth getting ready to see if there's something to buy. I wouldn't go crazy. Hey, Ross, Mary, I wouldn't go crazy, but maybe another play can be picked up here and there. You have to be very careful what you get. Remember, get MACDs that are unwound. Always get MACDs that are unwound. Moving down, get 60s that are getting oversold, that kind of stuff. Hopefully, if you can get a divergence, that's even better still. So if you can get things like that, that would really be nice. So you just take it a day at a time, see what sets up. Getting aggressive here doesn't make too much sense. There are times and periods when stocks need to pull back, and that's what we're getting on some of the big leaders, and that's good for the market. It's healthy for the market. It's never a bad thing to have some unwinding and get things to move down. The hardest thing to do, though, is to buy that weakness. You know that. Everybody knows that. Hardest thing to do on planet Earth is buy stock market weakness. Really, it's probably easier to eat bugs live than it is to buy weakness. It's such a difficult concept for people to buy weakness. So, and I understand it because it's very emotional. So that's really probably what needs to happen here is that you buy some weakness. And I'll look for something that's weak but pulling back to major support, and you give it a shot with some pretty tight stops, and that's a basic way to play the market. Other than that, the market's just in its phase of chop, like I've spoken about many times. I've spoken about this ad nauseum to everybody. It's all about chop, chop, chop. It really is. This market's in chop mode. And the reason for the chop is to unwind the price lines, the Apples, the Googles, the IRSRGs, the stocks that have been overbought, so forth and so on, to take them down. But at the same time, while you're unwinding them, you'll notice the market doesn't fall apart. That's what makes the market bullish. There's enough rotation going on in the market that makes it fine. So it's okay. That's what you got to keep in mind. Look at the bigger picture, what's happening, what's being done. And as long as you can recognize that for what it is, you're going to be okay. There still is nothing bearish taking place. Let's go take a look at the Dow chart. Here's your Dow. If you can find something bearish there, let me know. Yes, the MACD's sitting down in this thing, but maybe what it just does is it goes lateral and then breaks up to a new high. Remember, we've been down at minus 200. We're only at plus 85. If the market wants higher, this can just reverse right back up without any problem. It's hanging in a bullish base right now. If this MACD wants to turn back up, if there's news out there, it can do that. It definitely can do that. Look at the NASDAQ. Little gap below the 50, below the 20s today. MACD, but look at the MACDs coiling towards zero. RSI is down to 50. You don't get bearish on this kind of stuff. This is just the base playing out. This is not bearish looking. This is not bearish. Notice from plus 40 plus to 12, and you've taken off 32, 31. You've taken off 2.5%. You got great support, 30.81. I showed that other chart earlier this morning. I mean, you could go down another 40 points, 1.25%, take off maybe 3.5%, 4%, and you're ready to turn back up. Doesn't have to go down here, by the way. By no means does it have to. There's nothing bearish, and in the short term, there's nothing bullish other than the continued unwinding of these oscillators, a necessary part of the process. There's nothing bearish about unwinding. I told you at some point it had to come. It's here. It's what it does. UNP is holding up very well. You could see the chart today. I mean, what can I say about that? That looks almost ready to take out the gap here and move higher. And FFIV's up a buck, buck and a half. It was up over $3 at one time. Now it's up a $1.28. Failed at the 20s. But it's holding. It's holding the 50-day. I mean, we sold half of this. We sold half of UMP. But this is all we're in. It's all we're in. I'm looking for stuff. I'm looking. My eyes are looking. I'm looking around. I like to see some hammers form in certain places at the end of the day. Remember, we're only 90 minutes into the trading day. When you're 90 minutes into the trading day, you don't get excited. The market could plunge at the end of the day. The market could blast at the end of the day. But you want to see some kind of bottoming stick in critical places that say it's time to get into something else. For now, we don't have that. At this moment, we don't have that. So we're watching, and that's all we can do right now is just watch. That's our job, is to watch. And we'll figure it out as time goes along. In the meantime, keep it light, keep it simple, watch the day, don't front run the market. You know, I hate front running because, yes, you can make your best kills that way. You can also get killed the hardest that way, believing, okay, we've recovered off the lows here. We're going to blast up as the day goes along, and that could happen. We could also crater down. So you have to be very, very careful. Everybody following me here? Any questions? Stock market preferable. Again, you can ask me questions on the board, which you do all the time. Yes, we can look at Apple. Because it's a leader, John, we'll look at Apple. Apple is at 641.43. And where was that trend line? I think 615, right? Yes, seems to be around 615. I don't think we're going there personally. I think Apple probably is seeing close to its lows here. You were at 20 MACD, now at -2. You got a gap here at 640 to 636. It hit that gap today. It's bouncing up. Maybe it back tests the 50 and falls again. I don't know. We're going to see. But you are down to 38 RSI, and normally to this level is usually around where you bottom. But we shall see. We don't know yet for sure. I can't be bearish on Apple anymore because it's moved down 705. It's moved down 65 points. It's corrected, almost 10%. And that's a nice pullback. And Apple needed that pullback. Could it come down here to 620? Yes. 625, it can come down here. But I just don't see anything bearish on Apple right now. At this point, this is played out. We talked about the negative divergence at the top. That's played out with that black candle. Now that it's fallen 10% with RSIs in the 20s on the daily chart, in the 60-minute chart, and 30s on the daily chart, now's not the time to get bearish on it. Yeah, I wouldn't buy right now, Iris, on Cliff. I would wait for it to pull back and fill a little bit. I didn't know if you were in or not. If you're not in, I don't take a new position at the moment. Status of gold and silver markets. Why don't we look at the status of gold and silver? I will get there, I promise you. There we go. Let's look at silver first. Hi-oh, silver away. Let's look at SLV. Well, you got a gap down. I had a pretty good gap down today, but this gap's a lot. Can't take anything from it. However, you could see, I think I talked about this. I don't remember. Maybe it was another stock. No impulsion on stochastics on this last double top. No impulsion on RSI. No impulsion on MACD. You do have a negative divergence in place, and so when you have a negative divergence in place, I stay away. Gold has the same thing. Lower MACD at a higher high, lower RSI, and probably a lower stochastic. Indeed, you do. I would give this a while to play out. Nothing dramatically terrible. Probably needs to unwind for a while. I wouldn't be buying the gold or silver market right now, Bill. I would not be buying it right here. I would stay away, and I would let it unwind in time. And when RSIs get down enough and things get down enough, then I would consider I'd consider buying it again. For now, I wouldn't. You're welcome. Folks, I think I'm going to, spend a lot of today doing what I always do, finding something that might be nice. I'm going to look hard and see if I can find something that makes sense, so forth and so on. So What I don't want to happen is what's starting to happen right now again. People are asking about stocks. Remember, you can ask me during the day here so we don't bore people in the room, Darko and everybody else. You can just ask me these questions during the day. I'm always around to answer them. I'll answer this while I'm here. Cisco is in a bull flag, very bullish pattern. Massive move up on massive volume. Using these moving averages to hold it, it's very bullish. Very bullish. All right. I would say caution is still the word for the rest of the day, unless I see something profound as the day moves along. But I think we should just relax a little bit, see how the day finishes up with the indexes and apples, if they hammer, if they don't, so forth and so on, and then we can gain better insight as to how to move forward. So in the meantime, try to probably chill out a little bit, and we can go from there. Does that sound good? Any other questions on the market, folks? I'm here to answer them. I'm here to help. If you want to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about the market with everybody here. Your stock questions, individual stocks, as you know, all day you can ask me your questions like everyone does all along here. Like Yerny did and everybody does along the way. Just ask me your questions, and I always answer them. Always answer them. Except I see I miss one from time to time. 99% of the time I always answer them. Oil's been in a protracted downtrend. That is worth looking at. That is a stock market question. I think it's worth looking at oil. And that's just been in a protracted downtrend and continues in a protracted downtrend. You see the negative divergence here. You see this? We come down. We make a higher high with a lower MACD. It starts to trend down. But now you're below zero on the MACD. The stochastic is trying to turn up. So hopefully this low here, if you're into oil, this gap here, and this could be the bottom. This could have been the bottom. I would probably only be a buyer of oil here, but it has a lot to prove. So oil is starting to look better, but it's not excited about it, Alan. I would only probably go long. I thought the VIX would be spiking more as well, but that's what happens in a more bullish atmosphere. And based on that, Ross is asking about the dollar, which is critical to the market. And if you see the dollar, it probably should be blasting up today, but I'll bet it's not. No, it's not. And this goes hand in hand with a market that probably still just doesn't want to collapse out. So I would expect the VIX to have been up harder and the dollar to be up harder. I would expect the TLT to be hard up today, but I'll bet it's not. No, nothing. Black candle, dead. Makes sense on some level because the market doesn't look ready to crash out. And if the market's not ready to crash out, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay, folks. I'll be around later. I'll be around all day. I'm here for the next 5 hours. Any questions you have, I'll do more charts, more updates the way I do all day long. And I'll be looking for something else to potentially get into. And I hope everyone had a fun weekend. If there are enough people around, I'll do a chat later today at around 3-ish, 3:30, if there are enough people around. If not, then I won't. Thank you all for coming in today. And you want to ask me any questions, I'm on board. Just ask. I get to everybody. So if I skip one, it's purely accidental. You can ask this question again an hour later, and I'll get to it because I usually don't miss anything. All right, folks. I'll talk to everybody later.